Mr. Moderator, certain world leaders in our history books have been known to cover up one crisis by creating another. However, I would not ascribe to the President of the United States, whether he be a Republican or a Democrat, such an ulterior motive. I am sure that President Kennedy feels that the policy he is pursuing is the wise policy. I know that his convictions are honestly held because he is an American. My only dispute with him concerns the wisdom of his policies, and I think that is a legitimate subject for partisan debate.
I don't know who these authorities are. Might be David Lawrence or somebody like that. No, I believe that Berlin is the problem, and I believe that Berlin is the problem not just geographically but symbolically. That this is still the point at which we come in sharpest conflict with the Russians. This is the point at which they have said our vital national interests are equally involved. This is why I say that Berlin is the major problem, because Russia feels that her vital national interests are at stake, and we certainly feel that this is the front line, the front bastion of our security. If Berlin falls, Central Europe falls. If Central Europe falls, our main base, of course, our main support in that area of the world is gone. This is why I say it's the main problem. Not just because in the geographical or real sense, but in the very symbolic sense, that this is where we come into sharpest conflict.
In our back door.
Crush it. I think the moment that we're absolutely sure, and our intelligence forces tell us that the weapons are there for offensive purposes and the threat of their use is real, I would say crush the Cuban government, the Cuban military forces with whatever is necessary.
We should take definitive action. Reach Cuba. Mr. Moderator, I can't recall any program of such mammoth dimensions economically which the Republican Party has originated. I do recall, however, that it was Teddy Roosevelt who talked about the big stick and about speaking softly, although we carry it. And I do recall that other Republican administrations have seen to it that the United States posture in the world at large remained firm, and that our enemies knew about our purpose to defend liberty anywhere, and that our friends knew the same thing. But so far as the foreign aid program is concerned, I find it a little difficult to understand how my opponent can take great pride in the fact that his party originated the program, which has spent a total of $96 billion since World War II, and a moment ago he compared our program in the foreign aid field with the Russian foreign aid program. It happens that Russia has spent a total of only $8 billion for foreign aid. $6 billion of that has gone to communist satellites, only $2 billion to non-communist satellites, and every nickel of the $2 billion has been on a reimbursable loan basis with strings attached.
Very briefly, I'll say that a good deal of the foreign aid program administered by the United States is ostensibly loans also. I hope the Russians have a better record of collecting than we do. I would also like to say that I think my opponent is unfair to his own party, because many of these very important international efforts to establish world stability and to maintain American security have been bipartisan in nature. They are not things that one party or the other can claim, and the Democratic Party is perfectly willing to share the credit for things like the Marshall Plan and so on. I will say this also, and this is very interesting to me. Last year, about, I don't know, sometime early in the year, I heard a speech out at the Crossroads Mall. Mr. Walter Judd, a representative from the state of Minnesota, was there. And I heard Mr. Judd introduced in such glowing terms, that I thought this man, and I think I almost quote directly from